Hey dudes, welcome back to another episode of our Rhomas Men's Team podcast. You are about to listen to one of our prior team meetings. If you ever want to join one of our live sessions that we have every Monday and Friday, head over to rhomas.com. That's RHOMAS.com and put your email in and we will send you a live link every time we record. We generally record on Mondays and Fridays. So if you ever want to be on the actual podcast, like we bring men up all the time to talk about their goals, talk about their obstacles, etc., head over to rhomas.com. And then also, if you want to help support the channel grow and also have access to exclusive content, book reviews, extra whiteboard sessions, etc., and some coaching sessions, head over to patreon.com and support us. We would love it. But if not, no biggie. We'll see you on the live sessions. Later, dudes. Enjoy this podcast.
We are.
What's up, man?
Chilling, man. What you up to?
I am cold.
I was about to say, dude, I noticed the jacket. I'm like, what's going on over there?
Dude, I wish this wasn't the case, but ever since I moved out to California, it definitely does something to your blood. Like, you get used to it. Now, whenever I go home back to Philadelphia, I'm like super cold all the time during the winter. And today I'm still in California, but I think it's probably like 50 degrees. Yeah. My bones can't take it anymore, man.
Do you guys have like the windows open and stuff?
Nope.
Damn, you're just chilly.
Yep. So I wish that wasn't the case, and I feel like not a man saying that, but it is what it is. It's just the truth, dude. It's just the truth.
When I get the chilies, it's over, man. I hate when I get them.
Yeah, Drew was saying it's 5 here. Yeah, no, I know. Trust me.
Yeah, it's starting to warm up. It's funny because over here it's like I saw the 5-day forecast and it's going up to 38, and I was like, yes.
Yeah,
it's been so fucking cold.
I just remember, I remember when I lived back in Philadelphia, I could deal with the cold unless we're like walking through the city. I never got used to that.
Yeah,
I never like when the wind just like goes through you, or when I was in New York, like, you know, dressed in dress pants and all that kind of stuff. And oh man, that is, I don't know anybody who ever gets used to that.
Dude, the go to Chicago in the wintertime, it's a whole other thing, man. The wind hits you and it's just like, it pisses you off. It's like, what the fuck? Why?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that was one of the major catalysts that made me decide to move to California. Not necessarily Chicago, but just too many of those circumstances where it's like, why am I here? I have the choice to move to a sunnier, warmer place. Yeah.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I go back and forth on that. I kind of like having the cold winter, and then the spring hits, and you're like, oh, it feels awesome. But I mean, I guess you have never really gotten sick of warm, sunny days.
No,
from what I understand. So
never. Yeah. And I feel like nobody, and even me when I lived back east, I never properly or accurately estimated the amount of time that is winter. Like, always in my head, I was like, oh yeah, it's a couple months. It's not a couple months. It is not a couple months. It's not even 3 months. It is a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah, we were having some mild ones, but now, you know, we got hit with the real deal this winter, and it's like, I've got the chilies a couple times, dude.
Well, and then it parlays itself into rain for like 2 months straight. You know, it's crazy. And moving out here to California, it's weird now. I never have weather get in my way ever.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember the last time. Actually, the last time I remember weather getting in my way was 2 birthdays ago. That's the last time I remember weather getting in my way. Literally.
Yeah, it's crazy.
2 years ago.
Dude, I've been making the almost, I would say I've been doing a full switch where if I'm showering during the day, I take a cold shower. If it's before bedtime, I help myself to like not even a hot one, just a warm one. Dude, the cold, I just ripped one just before this. It is the best, dude. It sucks when you know you got to get in there and you go, I know that water's cold. I know I can just twist that little knob and I just make myself get in there. And it's like, Jesus Christ. It's like drinking a cup of coffee. Because by the end of it, I crank it all the way down, just let it just freeze my head, and you pop out of there. And it's just like, God damn it. It's like a very quick and easy version of like a cold bath. So you can pop in, get chilly, and you're out. And it's like, dude, every time I do that, I feel so charged up.
I have thought about having a ready cold bath always just on the side, like in my garage, because I think you can put magnesium in there or some sort of some other substance in there so it won't grow mold. But just always having it, kind of full of ice. You can get an insulated tub, almost like an insulated trash can, and just hop in there every morning.
What, dude? That's not a bad move. I've seen people take the like those like the freezer things, like the storage freezers, and then you pop the lid off and just put water in it and just keep it set to like the higher temp and just have some 40-degree water ready to roll.
Oh,
but
dude, that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. It looks pretty cool, and especially in California, you can have a thing just sitting in your garage and just pop in there. But the cold water, it's such a funny thing because it's just like, it's just a weird thing to subject yourself to. It's odd how like you watch it on YouTube and you'll see someone just hop in a cold vat of water and it's like hundreds of thousands of views. People are like, "Holy shit, dude! It's so cold in there."
Dude. So cold. We'll have to get you out here to California again in winter and hop in the ocean.
I know, dude. I was such a bitch that one day. I got in.
It's hard not to be, man.
Scared, dude.
It's hard not to be.
Yeah, it was scary.
Well, moving cold water is way worse than not moving cold water. It's so bad. It hurts so bad. I've never gotten used to it. I mean, I've got a tiny bit used to it where I can like almost tolerate it. But if you're just hopping fresh out of the gate, oh yeah, it is brutal, buddy.
Yeah, man. What is so what's up this week? What's going on?
I need to focus fully. Well, not focus fully, but I need to quadruple down on the men's weight loss competition. I have not done my part so far. I mean, I've been doing the stuff. I just missed yesterday workout, but I really need to start pushing the results.
Yeah, same here. I've been doing well. I've been doing good. I'm just at like a 180 to 179 plateau. I just hit it and keep going. So I got to start cutting some extra stuff out. Brittany started she decided to take up like baking this month, which has just been, I've been good, but it's like, it's definitely somewhat of a hindrance. And last night we obviously made sushi, which was, that was fun, dude. Sushi was a blast. Making sushi was fun.
Yeah, it looked good, man.
Dude, that, and again, it's like, it's so funny with like the relationship stuff. Really, sometimes it really just needs to all you need is just two of you doing something together, having fun. And it's like, you don't need to do anything crazy. Like we've done, like you go out to a dinner, it's, $200, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I had 90 times more fun just making sushi in our kitchen. And, so that was fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Ray is saying that I paid her to bake.
But yeah, that's not a bad focus. I've been doing good in terms of like hitting my workouts. Like I do like these body weight workouts on YouTube. They're not like the hardest things in the world, but they're definitely a good start to kind of get my body back into that. But yeah, dude, I'm telling you, here it's tough because again, like with the weather stuff, dude, it's like I want to go outside and go for a run, and literally the sidewalk is covered in an inch of ice. And it's like, dude, I took my dogs outside and they just both ate it immediately. It went out and it just fell. Yeah, dogs suck on ice, dude. Those claws are no good.
Oh man.
So, but yeah, that's like, so I have to just be down in my basement working out, doing my thing. But for now, the big thing I can do is just adjust my diet. That's like, I can always do that. I've been doing good with it. It's just like, dude, you got to do it like every day. Whenever I lose a pound, I want to celebrate. I'm like, well, it's time to celebrate. It's like I see the 179. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Well, dude, funny enough, somebody was asking me recently, what is the best form of cardio that you can do? And then I dove a little deeper. I said, well, you're probably asking me for the weight loss benefits. And the person said, yes. What I told them was, funny enough, it's just staying busy. I would actually rather you do very minimal cardio, just walking, or just doing something. Go to the grocery store, or not the grocery, but go out, shop. It doesn't matter. Go and do something that takes away from your time from eating. That is what I have found to be the best. That's why I have told people before that the first time I got like a hardcore six-pack was actually from doing salsa dancing. And it wasn't necessarily the calories. I can say for sure, it was not the calories that were burned as a result of salsa dancing. It was that I would salsa dance for 4 or 5 hours straight. Now, of course, you're going to burn some extra calories there, but it's like a 4-point swing in basketball. It's you're scoring points on one end, and then you're not allowing the defense to score on the other end, if that makes sense.
Yeah, dude.
So for every hour I'm salsa dancing, it's one less hour that I'm eating candy.
That makes perfect sense. Because if I get bored, especially on the weekend, I'm firing all cylinders. I have like my things I'm checking off. When I relax on the weekend, I'll catch myself doing that like zombie walk to the fridge where I'm just bored.
Yep.
And I open it and I just look into it and I'm like, shut it. I'm like, maybe there'll be stuff in there now. I open it and I'm like, nope, shut it. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, from a weight loss perspective, the best form of quote exercise you can do if you're looking at it from strictly from a weight loss perspective, is just not eating. Like, and then it's distracting yourself from the not eating, getting so engaged in something else where you're not doing that zombie walk to the fridge. That is what I have found melts off an enormous amount of weight. And then when you do, that's why narrowing down your time window of eating is so effective. If you actually stay disciplined to it, you remove the decision making. You're just going to eat at this period of time, and especially if you reduce the frequency at which you eat or the number of times at which you eat during the day. I do 1 or 2 maximum. If you do that when I'm on my game, if you do that, then all of a sudden the game becomes infinitely easier. Plus, your day is freed up to do whatever else. The amount of time that people take that I used to take to eat food, it's insane. Like just the amount of time that's spent around food-related activity.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, that's what's been killing me. I've been eating late, which, again, I've heard before, like, well, it's just like the calories. Doesn't matter what time they're eating. But it's like I wake up with this sour stomach, dude. If I eat after 8:30 p.m., I wake up at 7, 6 in the morning, and I'm just kind of like, ugh. So I am trying to kind of cut that down to like breakfast, lunch, and then a small dinner around 6, and that's it. And like, kind of really let my body kind of eat or burn stuff off like all night while I sleep. But
yeah, well, Dr. Michael Greger researched the studies that have been done on that, and apparently, and he wrote about this in the book called "How Not to Diet," and he put a bunch of videos up on his website nutritionfacts.org about it. And apparently, he discovered, or the research discovered, that it actually does matter when you eat. That you could eat 100 calories in the morning and your body will metabolize it faster than at night, or more effectively than at night. However, I personally put that into the minutia category because that's where we get into that whole Tim Ferriss quote, "The good plan you follow is better than the great plan that you don't." I know that for me, my discipline, it's way easier for me to not eat in the morning all the way through into the afternoon than it is to stop eating at 5 p.m. and then not eat the rest of the day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Because then that's like your downtime. So then during your downtime, you're going to not eat, and it's like, I am going to try to, coming up in the next couple of weeks, shift my food more towards the front half and just kind of deal with the discipline at night, because it is tough, especially when Bay's coming around with some like treats and stuff at nighttime. And dude, you can't not eat. It fucks them up. They're like, well,
it does. Yeah, they do not get happy about that.
No.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing, like you were saying, man, is like the small tweak I'm going to make to see what, again, it's really just kind of experiment and see like easy tweaks people can make, including myself. It's just on my workout days, making sure every single day I walk for like a half hour to an hour, something around then. And
walking is dramatically underrated, dude.
It's crazy.
Dramatically underrated.
I'm telling you, I used to hate on it. I used to be like, "Oh, you're counting your steps. Go exercise, do that. Stop doing fake exercise." But it's like, dude, people are, "I did 3,000 steps." It's like, yeah, you have to. Like, what are you talking about? But now I take that back. It's like, dude, just taking like long, especially when it's nice out, taking like 2-3 hour walks, man, if you can on the weekends, makes a huge difference.
Oh man, that's what I'm saying. It's super low impact. It takes a ton of time. Like we go on hikes around here. Sorry for East Coasters, you might not have this opportunity right now. But when I go on a hike around here, it literally takes 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
We do it at least once a week. Sometimes I do it multiple times a day. And there's nice inclines there. So yeah, it's gorgeous. I have also been the guy who's been on the treadmill for an hour per session every single day. And that sucks. Yeah. If you can do that, great. I mean, I guess you could always watch a movie, but it's nothing in comparison to going outside and seeing nature.
Yeah, dude. And there's real benefits with that too. There's a whole field of, what's it called? Eco psychology, where they've and it's kind of like one of those things that's sort of obvious. And then the science is like, yeah, here, check out this thing we discovered. But there are like really serious benefits just being out and spending time in nature, which is, I would definitely attest to.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, getting out there in the sun, and apparently even for your eyeballs. I've been doing some research into eyeballs, and it's very fascinating how we are supposed to see things expansively, if that makes sense. So we're always stuck inside of like small little cubes, whether that be in our house or in our car, etc. But we're not working our full musculature of our eyeballs. I don't know how true that is, but at least that's come up on a few articles that I've read. So looking out over the horizon or looking out over a range, just looking out where there's nothing like immediately in front of you, like a computer or a wall. So it's very interesting. Yeah,
that's
very
pretty
interesting.
crazy. I never thought about that.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it drains the life out of me. I'm down in my basement all day on the computer, just working. I'm working on my computer, but yeah, I like. There was I think it was back when it was snowing real hard here, like a few days ago. There was a point where like I hadn't been outside in like 2 days. I was like, I have not been outside, and maybe I like drove somewhere, but not like been outside in fresh air, dude. I don't even think I drove anywhere, and then yeah, I told Brittany, like, I'm taking a walk. I'm losing my mind. And that was when the ground was just covered in ice, and I just shuffled. Like literally, I was sliding. So it was kind of fun making my way around. I just shuffled and slid around, did like a little, my usual 15-minute walk, what I usually do with the dogs. And yeah, there's something about, especially with me, I need to be outside, man. It drives me, like, being in an office all day it gives me the chills, dude. To just be under fluorescent lighting all day and then go outside finally, and you're like, oh.
So what would you recommend? Because the last thing that we want guys to do, including ourselves, well, I don't fit this category because I'm not on the East Coast, but COVID out there, maybe a lot of guys are not going to the gym, and they're in an area of the world that is super cold right now. How do you grind through it, man?
Dude, Jordan just beats through running in the snow, So
Does he?
It's like, yeah. So you either like, I think you can take anything like that, and I'm going to start taking my own advice here because I've been such a baby about running. Well, really, I'm like, I don't want to slip because I've fallen while running. I think 4 times since I started running. I do it all the time without ice on the ground. So I'm like, ice on the ground, no way. I'm just not doing it. But I think you can kind of get into these things.
Hold on, sorry. Can we not skip over that part? You have 4 times over the year?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, dude, I don't know. I start running. I'm listening to music. I trip every single time. There's a little stretch in the woods that I run. There's like a little thing of the woods that, like, I'm in Philly, and there's this like little trail. I hit that, and I've done it on sidewalk cracks. I just hit them, dude, and I go down. And it's the same thing every single time. I tumble, I tuck, and I roll. It's almost like a little somersault, and I pop up and just keep running. And people look at me like, "What the fuck was that?"
Do you have like the full dad? I feel like a dad fall is way different than like a young man fall. I put you in the young man fall, but like, have you ever seen a dad fall? Do dads
go down like a ton of bricks, dude? It's like a chimney collapsing. Dude, they haven't fallen in like 6 years, and they're just like, yeah, they go down hard as fuck.
I always feel like they've got a million keys on them too. I don't know, you hear a bunch of keys and change or something, dude. I don't know why, but I always think of that.
They do. They go down, their keys spill, and they lose about like $8 worth of change.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes.
That's falling costs the U.S. economy about like $1 billion in coins every year.
That is awesome.
Yeah, old men go down hard, dude.
They do, man. They really do.
I've kept my nimbleness in terms, dude. I'll fall and literally tuck, roll, pop up, and keep running. To the point where
that's what I'm saying. I mean, you are a trained athlete, and you've done jiu-jitsu and all that. So I would never think that you do the dad fall, but it just made me think of dad
it's
fall.
Coming, dude.
Is it coming?
It's coming.
No way, man. You're losing weight now.
True, but yeah, that's true.
You already at an athletic build. And then you're getting even more and more
fall gracefully, but I again, like you said, like you've noticed, I should say, I fall a lot, dude. I eat it constantly. That's what it is.
I was just surprised at the fall. I don't remember the last time I've fallen,
dude. I mean, the problem is I'll be listening to my headphones, I'm in the zone, and then I'll bust out my phone, like, oh, I don't like this song, and I'll try to switch, or I'll check what my pace is. I bust that phone out, and dude, looking at your phone while running is maybe worse than looking at it while driving. Well, not as deadly as driving, but it's not advised to it's not advisable to try to scope your phone while you're running.
And Cole just said falling with your hands in your pockets is the worst. I could imagine. I can just imagine the geometry of that, but I don't know that I've ever fallen with my hands in my pockets. But maybe this is because I don't run. Like, I don't run. You run a lot. I am not a runner. I like playing sports, but it's not the same thing as just running. And then, like you said, you got to check your phone and do other stuff.
Yeah, it's all about the playlist, man. Troy also brings up a good point. Women falling is the best. Women
It makes
falling
me feel awkward, dude. I can't watch it. Seriously, I can't watch it. If you put it up on YouTube right now, I would literally look away. I can't do it.
They go down hard, man.
They do.
They start off going down soft, and then they slowly accelerate into the ground. It's just like it's so bad, dude.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, and then you can increase that with the mom fall. Like the equivalent of the dad fall on the female side is not okay, man.
Just big tits in a sweater smashing the ground. It's like true. I mean, that has to impact the fall.
Yeah. It definitely does.
As soon as it's like 90 degrees forward and they're down, it's just like. But we didn't come here to goof around, dude.
Oh man, that was good. I needed a good laughing session. My life's been too serious lately.
I will say, dude, it's necessary. Actually, I just, dude, this has been burning a hole in my head. I was laying there with Brittany last night, and we made our sushi, we hung out, regular, pretty low key Valentine's Day, and I started just kind of quivering because I was kind of laughing to myself in bed. She was like, "What's so funny?" I was like, "Dude, you don't. Just let me go to sleep." And she's like, "What's so funny?" And I was like, turned around in bed. I'm like, I was just thinking how funny it'd be if I started going down on you and prematurely ejaculated while eating you out. And she was just like, "What?"
Your disclaimer, no, trust me, just go to bed.
I was just go to bed. And dude, I just kept like enacting it on her, like, "Oh God." Dude, and still this morning I was in the shower, like, God damn, that's just so funny. I wonder if that's ever happened to somebody.
Had to have.
On a girl and you come. Oh my God.
Dude, if you think girls laugh about the same stuff?
Last night, no. But no, I think they would, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a good thing to be a guy, man. The joking around that happens between men, I feel like is hard to replicate. I don't know. I've never been a female, but it's a cool thing to have.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do think there's a big difference, honestly.
Gunther said, "Sounds like my first Bumble date." It's been confirmed.
Dude, I need to know. I know it's happened to somebody before, so I need to know. Dude, every time we talk about stuff, it's happened on all the various podcasts I do. Someone will hit me up and be like we were talking about on Matt and Shane's of bouncers like killing people accidentally and all this stuff, and going to jail. And dude, I had like 3 people hit me up like, yeah, I was a bouncer who went to jail, or I was a bouncer who knew someone who went to jail for that. Whoa, yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Wow, that's an interesting thing to think. I never thought about that. I've never seen it, but I've never thought about that.
There was a bouncer who also, and if you want to, this is a kind of a weird thing to think about. There's a bouncer who said within the bouncing industry, it's very well known that on full nights, or full moons, fights break out. Like you get extra bouncers and you get ready for it because it's going to get nuts. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow. Have you ever done any research into astrology?
Not really. I've tried to do it before, and I start to talk to it. I start to talk about it to someone, and they laugh at me so hard that I stop reading the book. I'm done with this.
Well, I have talked to now probably a handful of individuals that I do respect their intellect and who are like fully into it.
Yeah,
fully into it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I don't discount anything, man. I always keep an open mind, and for some reason this is something that I think it's a personality trait. But like sometimes there's the nature of that stuff like infuriates people sometimes, like bothers them to a point where they get angry. And it's like, I like to do the grounding stuff. People say that there's like, electrical energy on the surface of the earth. And the weird thing is when I put my bare feet on the ground, my legs tingle. Didn't know anything about it. Looked it up and like, oh, that's a common thing when you start to do it. Like weird. But yeah, you tell people that and they get fucking mad. And I'm always curious, like, why does this anger you? Like, I'm just putting my feet on the ground, dude. And I think it's pretty cool. And there's people have studied it and found that it's pretty good. But yeah, people get pissed. And I'm always like, I just think it's a personality trait.
Yeah. I mean, I have had a lot of ahas in the last, let's say 2-3 years of getting back to nature, getting more just natural in general. And a lot of things that I was dismissive on in the past. And funny thing is, I look back on my dismissive self years ago. It's like, dude, I was drinking protein shakes like every 2 hours, eating like 14 pounds. It's insane, right? Like that was the judgmental me of saying like, oh, all these natural hippies out there, like they don't know what they're talking about. But I do have to say, like, the more and more I grow up and learn about different things, honestly, I don't even like saying this, but like the more I do of the stuff that my mom told me I always should do, like when I was a kid, and then also the more kind of hippy dippy stuff that I do, like on our scorecard team and on our workout teams in the morning, we're doing primarily yoga and Pilates, and that is because I, for years, and a lot of us men for years, just did the stereotypical like bench press, all of those things, and now eventually, dude, like you start waking up every day with back pain. And it's because you're not treating yourself as more of the natural holistic being that you're supposed to be. So yeah, I'm definitely on a journey with that as well.
Yeah, man, dude. And it's one of those things where it's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? If you go out, like say you go out and get some sunlight or spend some time in nature, people are like, show me where this works in scientific. It's like, just go do it, man. Relax. Just go do it. See how you feel. And then go from there, because you really can anymore with like, all of the information, all of the scientific journals, all of this, that, and it's like you can find a journal to support anything or to dismiss almost anything in the world. So it's like, you can say, oh, look at this, blah, blah, blah. Obviously they can do, like, people who actually know how to interpret data like professionally can do a meta-analysis and say, hey, like it seems as if this is a strong indicator, blah, blah, blah. But I've grown to learn that when people are like, for the most part, not everything, but when they're like, oh, that's definitely bullshit, it's like, people who deal with statistics almost never say like, oh, for sure. They're always like, it seems that way. So that's been something I've been trying to do. Like at the end, and I think it's one of those things where it's almost like, I could say I've done this before, where it's almost scary to have to validate your own information for yourself. But it's like, it's really all you can really do. It's like, try it, see how it goes. And then kind of, you can read everything to death and be like, oh, I know I'm right. It's like, well, just go try it.
Yeah, I think. So I use a couple mental models for this. And number one, I think Cole, remind me if we don't hit to your question on the difference between Pilates and yoga. They both make you feel like terribly emasculated. So I think, at the end of the day, yoga, I would say, Matt, and correct me if I'm wrong, but my experience with yoga is, let's just say it's, a combination of stretching, let's say 70% stretching and 30% kind of strength core building, like that sort of thing. That's the ratio that I would kind of give it. Pilates is almost like 60% core building and then 40% stretching. Like that's the best way I could kind of describe it. Like Pilates will have you do an ab workout, and they'll say, arch your back and hold your abs like this and move this way, and then you do it for like a minute, and it just like burns your core. I have never experienced anything like that with yoga. I don't know, Matt, if you have, but if I ever have, it's a very rare occasion. Pilates really focuses on the core.
I think it depends. I've done like the yoga, like the flow, like the power flow classes, and it's like, dude, the thing that yoga started to do is, I don't know if they start. I'm not like in the industry of doing yoga, but I've done it enough, and I've noticed yoga classes will throw in some ab work towards the end. Like you'll be, when you do like the squat poses and stuff, my legs will be like burning like crazy and all that stuff. And I've definitely, but I think it's mostly stretching, and then they'll throw in some ab work. Pilates always reminded me of when I did one Pilates class, and it reminded me, because I've done more yoga, and it was like, this is like if Germans invented yoga. It's very straightforward and like mechanical, but it like, again, like you said, really good things about it, and I've heard it works. Like it's awesome. I only did one class one time, and I kind of like yoga because I like to get my exercise and then kind of like do like the stretches and stuff. But yeah, I got to give Pilates another try, because I told you before, Wes, I did it once at a gym, and it was me and like only just like senior citizens, and I was just like, this stinks. But it was because it was just not the class for me.
Yeah, and Troy is also saying, or no, Drew is also saying, there's also a spiritual and mental side to yoga. I completely agree with that. There's more of a meditative practice. I think yoga goes phenomenally well or you can just do yoga by itself, and it can check the box for meditation as well if you do it in the correct way. One of the things that I try to do for yoga is just as cliche as it sounds, focus on my breath being the same and consistent throughout the entire duration of the practice.
Yeah.
So I try to have 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. And that's sort of like my meditative practice alongside of the physical practice of yoga. And if you have never done that, I'd highly, highly, highly recommend it to anybody who's not done that.
Dude, even lifting weights. I like to do that. I like to lift weights. And when I lift weights, I try to like not worry so much about like crushing the heavy weights, but like just focusing on form and my breath. Like when it's coming up, I'm breathing in. When it's going up, I'm breathing down. And that's like actually really nice as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree with that. What were we talking about? Oh, the filter through which, the mental models through which to base your decisions. A couple things. Number one, the way that I like to think through things is what does the research show? That's number one, but that's only the first filter. And by the way, there's not in any sort of priority order. So number one, what does the research show? But what Dr. Greger says is, what is the best balance of information show? Because you're always, like you said, Matt, you're always going to be able to find different studies on either sides. Well, you have to kind of go through the rabbit hole and see, well, where are those studies funded, et cetera. So that's the first thing. So what is the best balance of information show? Then the second thing is, what is your own anecdotal information show? So what is your personal life experience? And I do think a lot of people who are into statistics and so on, and I have this flaw as well, tend to be dismissive of the anecdotal personal experiences for whatever reasons, because there's not a massive amount of data behind it. But I think cross-pollinate it with the data is very important. So it's, what does the data show? What does your personal data show? And then I believe, what is your personal close circle? What does their data show? And reconciling the information all the way through there. And then finally, not saying, am I right or wrong? Or is this definite or not so? It's where, and I use this mental model all the time, where would I put my money? Because if I had to make a bet, what would I do? Because it's just another way of asking yourself what the probability is. I'm not saying that I'm right, but I'm saying that I have to make a decision. Where is the best probable outcome, if that makes sense? And then also, sorry, Matt.
No, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
We listened to Wayne Dyer, which Wayne Dyer's kind of polarizing. You can land for or against him, but he had a great point that we listened to last week on our learning session, which was, let's even say it is placebo. Well, placebo is one of the most powerful things in research. So let's just say it is a placebo, and that rubbing this rock over here, you think it gives you benefit, but others said like, why that there's no statistical evidence that it gives you benefit. Well, placebo is, in my opinion, has been shown to be a very powerful thing in humans' lives. So even if it is a placebo, who gives a shit? If it works for you, it works.
That's exactly what I was about to say, dude. Mental twins always. The placebo effect. Everyone always, it's a placebo. It's like, well, placebo has been one of the most like consistently, measured and shown things that actually work. And it's like, that works too. And that's what I do. It's like, I do things. All I try to do is try to minimize the downside and err on the side of the placebo effect. It's like, well, if it is, that's great. You mean to tell me, because typically there's not really nobody really has like negative. Well, I guess you can kind of negative placebo side effects yourself, but it's like, usually it doesn't happen. Usually people say, like you were saying, I rub this rock, I do this thing, and crystals grant me this kind, like this crystal clears this kind of energy, whatever. If it's making you feel good, great. I see the same thing with religion. It's like people with religion can say, this and that, I prove it, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, people with religious people can be annoying with like trying to hammer that in everyone's face or do this. But there's people like, if that works for you mentally, dude, awesome. That's a fantastic thing, a sense of security, purpose. Take that and go with it. People get all caught up like, well, I don't know. And it's like, dude, just see whatever works for you. Just go with it. And obviously if you don't be a dick about any of this stuff, or, like my dad's a classic example of like, he likes sauerkraut. So it's unfathomable that you don't like it. And he'll ask you to eat it 50 times. And I'm like, I don't want it. And he's like, come on, just turn. And it's like, I don't fucking want it, dude. I can smell it from here and I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. I'm not a sauerkraut guy either.
Yeah, man. I think, the idea of averages and norms came with statistics. It's a relatively new idea. The idea like, it's the average thing. It's kind of a new concept in relation to all the other stuff. And before it were basically ideals, and people would strive under ideals rather than worrying about like, well, let me just check the normal box and kind of fit in and go from there. And it's like, it would be nice to see people kind of strive, like unabashedly strive under just like crazy high ideals like that. And the one book I was reading, the one I talked about the deep democracy of open forums, one of the things they tell you to do, and it's kind of like what you've shown me, Wes, of like come up with like just a crazy pie in the sky goal, like something you'd be ashamed to tell people almost, and just write that down in terms of like, you know, like your personal ideal or your personal mission you want to do with your life. Like think of something that almost makes you embarrassed, and then just be like, yeah, by the way, this is what I'm up to.
Oh,
like,
without a doubt.
And it's, you know, obviously it's going to change. You're going to try to figure it out, but it's like, dude, that's kind of the thing that charges me up the most is kind of all of the stuff that we're doing right now with like, you know, when again, people hit me up for this, it's like, oh my God, like, first of all, the experience that I've had and how much it's helped me to like organize my day, have a routine, all the stuff that, again, like you were saying, Wes, all the hippy dippy stuff, you would go, oh, Jesus Christ, get out of here with that. I was the absolute polar opposite where I just loved all that stuff. And to the point where I'm like, I'm not going to structure my time. That's crazy. That's like, what am I, a slave? Like, you know, yeah. And then you do that and you're like, God damn it, this work. This is crazy. And like, it's like, I want to like scream. I'm like, this is insane how much better my life is now that it's structured and I have a daily routine. I love my daily routine. So it's like, yeah, dude, it's, you know, don't be so sure, you know, when you're like feeling so certain about a thing being wrong, it's like, unless you've tried it, your opinion is virtually worthless. Again, obviously there's caveats to that, but like, you know, I don't like eating human flesh. I could say we could safely just kind of not do, but like for the most parts, dude, it's like you really got to let your experience be the teacher, man. Because otherwise you'll just have an idea of it in your head. And it's like, it could be wrong. You could be wrong. And it's like, imagine, and the whole reason I say this is like, imagine if I didn't start organizing my day. Imagine if I didn't, you know, go think and go, man, maybe Wes is onto something here. Try it out for myself and like, by God, man, the man's a genius. So, you know, it's like, yeah, and the thing that really blocks people from doing that is that self-concept thing when people go, well, I'm a this and I'm a that, and oh, that's not my thing, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, who says? It's like, what are you talking about? When people forsake their potential, it's like people forget it exists. It's like, well, this is just, you know, it's how it is for me. And it's like, well, if you say so, sure.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, don't ever get advice from an accountant ever. I mean, that is the best advice that I can give you, because accountants are so black and white, just numbers. It's just arithmetic, order of operations, etc. When you talk to accountants, like, obviously I'm generalizing, just being playful, but we've all run into those types of people who immediately just say like, no, why would you do that? You can't do that. And then, but the funny thing is, it's that whole, I think the most famous copywriting quote, at least that I've heard, is, what is it called? Oh man, it's they laughed at me when I first started playing, or no, they laughed at me when I told them I was taking piano lessons, but then when I started to play. That's apparently was the most famous copywriting line in history up until a certain point in time. And it's just to show that your people who hate against you eventually will be your supporters once you start showing results. So you have to get through that curve. You have to.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, I've said it 100 times. When me and Shane, before we started doing Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast, we had a guy who was, you know, a seasoned kind of like, it wasn't like a huge name in comedy, but he was a professional working comedian who had his own, like, you know, radio show or whatever. And he was like, don't start a podcast. Oh my God, such a waste of time. But imagine if I listened to that dude. It's crazy. And like how many people in that was the, from one of the videos I watched, they're talking about when you're excessively worried with the others' opinions of you, then, you know, when you're worried about what everyone in the world thinks about you, you have 8 billion masters to answer to. And it's like, you really, having done both of like trying to like weasel around being like, well, let me just kind of fly under the radar, or let me not kind of like weird anybody out. Like I've lived that life. And I've also been like, let me listen to this inner voice that's telling me to do all these things. You do them. You go, oh, this is awesome. And it's like people like, you're just like you said, Wes, will come out and be like, why are you doing that? And, you know, usually they have a Miller Lite in their hand and they're standing there at like a party and you're just like, okay, thanks, cool. And then
as soon as ball with keys on the ground.
As soon as you're like, you know, as soon as anything comes of it, they're first like, wow, that's hey, what is that? That's cool. And it's just like, and it's like not even any, you know, no disrespect to anyone. I just think that's just kind of how we're wired, to be honest. And it's like, so yeah, it's just don't do that. Go.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that my business coach, I got to give him credit for this. His name is Dan Sullivan, and he said, you don't have to tell people why you want things, and you don't even have to know yourself. If you want it, you want it.
True.
But if you want to do it, then do it, right? Like there's no deeper explanation. We all have some of those things. And I'm sure we've all experienced this with dating or something. It's like, can't exactly put your hand on your finger on why you like the girl or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. If you want it, you want it. So then go fucking do it. I think oftentimes at family barbecues, we're put in sort of a corner where we have to justify our desires. And I don't think that's a fair position to put an ambitious person in. It's like, I don't have to explain to you why I want it. I want to do it. Like even for this, Matt, you know, I had people talk to me and finally like, what, you want to start a men's group with your buddy? Like, why would you do that? It's like, well, because I fucking want to, right? That's why. No further explanation needed. And now a lot of those same, it's funny you say that, like Miller Lite dude. Now I have several of those people saying like, hey, like, you know, what's going on with that men's group? It's like, oh, it's, you know, it's not enormous, but you know, we've got this amount of people and dude, you should see. And then I'll show them the Discord. I'll be like, and honestly, I'll talk about Jordan and Delco Jim and Ray and all these guys, et cetera. It's like, look at the amount of support that these guys are giving each other, and they're giving me, and they're giving Matt. And they're like, oh, well, like, tell me a little bit more about that. So it's like, you don't have to explain shit to people. Like, if you want it, you want it.
Some guy with like sunburnt legs and khaki shorts and like a polo shirt just being like on like his 9th Miller Lite. Like, what the hell? What the fuck is he doing with that thing? Like, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
But yeah, man, it's yeah, and especially as you get older, man, it's like you really got to use your time, and it's like it sucks when you realize you've wasted a ton of time for nothing at all, other than being like, well, would that be weird? It's like, dude, come on, we're gonna be dead. It's like we're gonna be dead. I had a dream last night. I slipped into a coma and had to deal. I was effectively experienced a coma and like having to like be alive within a coma, and it was great. It was a harrowing experience. So yeah, it's just little things like that. Woke up this morning and was like, damn, man, I can't bug out about anything. I basically experienced a coma. That was crazy.
And I'm just seeing Gunther making a comment over here. It reminded me, I saw one of the comments in the Discord from Gunther. And Gunther, let me know if I have this inaccurately. But I believe he said that this weekend he may have strayed a little bit from the diet or something, but he didn't drink and he didn't do something else. And I just want to give him props for that, because he stayed away from alcohol and he made another good decision. I just forgot what it was, so I apologize, Gunther, but I want to give you a pat on the back for that.
Hell yeah, dude! Week no booze today. That's what's up. Also,
nice,
dude,
man.
I love that little kind of model of the commit, slip, quit versus commit, slip, commit, where it's like, yeah, dude, if you slip up, fucking just hop back on the wagon, dude. It's no big deal. That's irrelevant almost. It's what you do from there. Does that end into, does that cascade into just like, oh, I give up, or does it like, and just jump right back on the wagon? It's like, that's all you can do.
Yep.
Dude, it happened 100%. For me personally, is like, I've always, and again, like you said, Wes, it's like, I can rationalize, you know, why or why not to do a thing. But for some reason, for me, it's like, I don't like watching porn. For me personally, anyone else does it, I could really care less. It's not a judgment thing. It's like, obviously I know it's pretty awesome, but it's like, after I do it, I go like, I think I'd enjoy life more if that wasn't part of it. That's, you know, it's as simple as that. It's not like a moral thing.
You just start crying afterwards.
Yeah, it's getting there, but no, but yeah, I just kind of like, I just go like it's weird. Like, it's not like, you know, it's not like a judgment thing. It's just, for me personally, I'm like, it's almost like it's like you like you're like making out with a blow up doll. It's kind of like, this isn't real. That's kind of the thing that bothers me. And then I start thinking about like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good analogy. And it's just kind of like, so it's one of those things where it's like, again, it's like, did I ever get that perfect getting out of that? But it's like, no, but it's like, I've been able to drastically reduce the amount to which that I do it. Same with smoking weed. I have nothing against marijuana. I think it's actually a pretty wonderful thing. But when it starts to become kind of a crutch, or one of those things where it's like, oh, I can't really sleep, or becomes like, oh, I need it in order to do X, Y, and Z. Like, for me personally, there's other people who say like, look, it really helps me with that. Awesome. Do that. Knock yourself out. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's good. It's been good for me to get like a grip on all those things and not have things that kind of dictate my behavior, if that makes sense. It's like, you know, completely. If I choose to indulge, great, but it's not a thing that I'm constantly doing. And it takes like, you know, oh, well, I won't be able to sleep. Okay, then don't sleep. You don't get to sleep tonight, and your body will recalibrate itself for sure. But it's like, you might not have to sleep for a week, you know, or, you know, you might not sleep well. But it's like, I think that's a small price to pay to be kind of master of your own domain, or at least, you know, some semblance of that, as much as we can get.
Yeah. I completely agree, and I want to make sure that we're respectful of your time. And I don't know if you want to tell the guys, but Matt's got a big thing coming up in another hour or so. We just want to tackle one more question, if that's okay, from Jordan.
Oh yeah, I'm doing the Michaela Peterson podcast too, so be tight.
Yeah,
me and Shane are doing it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a blast.
It's amazing. Yeah, so huge congrats to that, man. That's awesome. Yeah, can't wait to listen to it, dude. Dude, I mean, think about that, right? Like what you're doing today and what people told you when you and Shane were first starting the podcast years ago. All right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's enormous.
It's crazy, man. And honestly too, it's funny because you get to the point where like I'm excited to do it. But you get to the point where you're just kind of like, okay, like, like, let me just show the same thing. I did it this morning, laying there, like, I woke up at 4:30 and was just like, oh God, Jesus Christ. I better not fuck this up. And it's just like, you get to the point where you're like, all I can do is just show up and honestly do the best that I can. When you approach things and it's like, I'm dealing with people, it's like when it's so easy to psych yourself out on all this shit, but you're just dealing with people. Everyone's just a person just like you. And it's like, all you can do is show up, do the best you can. And honestly, too, like going way back to the point you were saying about like doing Rhomas and the, perception of things and like a men's group. What is that? What do you guys go there and hate women? And it's like, yeah, that's the perception. People could perceive it in that way. And, whatever, for whatever reason they might want to do that. But then I instantly go, like, what's the benefit been? You think about all the good that it's been doing. You go, hell yeah, dude. That's like, that's the stuff I care about. If that makes sense. The perception game to me anymore, I just go like, it's nice when you get caught on the good end of that every now and again, but when you get caught in the bad, it's almost irrelevant. Honestly, it's like, I just think like, what is this thing doing? This is really just ripping a page out of your book. What is the value this is creating? And not just saying that, but like really living that way. And dude, it takes, you just drop the bullshit of like, how does this appear? What's this? And it's just a very freeing thing. And I can always step back and go, oh yeah, I'm doing things that actually like people will tell me, hey, this is awesome. I really enjoy this, rather than like thinking it's cool for some weird, you know what I mean? There's being cool is cool, but it's like creating value is the ultimate, dude. That's all.
Yeah, it really is, man. That question for me has been such a game changer. It is still, I mean, almost every single day, definitely every week, it reduces nervousness, anxiety around things. Like, doesn't matter if I'm going to talk with an investor who's worth $30 million, who's worth $30,000 or worth $30. Doesn't matter. It's how can I bring value to this person? And honestly, that makes me maintain a certain amount of equilibrium. I think, Matt, that's kind of what you're saying as well. It's like, whether it be this podcast you're going to go on, or whether it's going to be this podcast or this pod, doesn't matter. It's how can you create value for the attendees or for the people who are within your reach. So I think that's awesome, man. Great, dude. Super, super great job, man. That's awesome to see.
Oh yeah. Thank you, bro.
So the question we want to pose was, I think Jordan, a handful of comments ago, was talking about whether or not he should join this gym. It's going to cost him some extra money. And Jordan, chime in. I'm not sure if you said you were going to join 2 gyms. I think you're a member of another gym currently, and I think you said you're not sure if you're going to wanted to pay $75 a month for gym membership. And I think subsequently you said the way you're thinking about it is you used to spend that same amount of, if not more, money on booze. Should you just be spending it now on a gym? So, Matt, what are your thoughts? I think I encapsulated, right, like trying to peek over at the comments. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, definitely. I remember I had to hang out with jiu-jitsu. It was $150 or $120 a month, and dude, I was just like, "What?" In my head, I was, "That's crazy. That's insane. That's a monthly commitment." And then again, I did the same exact math. I'm like, dude, I should spend that in like 4 hours in a bar, like constantly, and be like, "Oh man, what the hell, dude?" It's like, and this is kind of a shift I've had with money, where you go, like, because like monthly subscriptions used to freak me out, almost to the point where, dude, a movie on Comcast, renting a $5 movie, I used to be like, oh, Jesus, God, no. And it's like, as my other friend was telling me, he's like, dude, you spend $7 on a drink at a bar. Like, why not just watch a movie for 2 hours? But yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if you want it in your life, figure out how to make it. If you want this gym to be part of your life, you went there, you liked it, pay for it and let it be part of your life. And that's just money you now know you have to accumulate to keep this thing in your life. That would be this particular gym, dude. And it's, well, that's expensive. That's all I can go to Planet blah, blah, blah for $10. It's like, that's cool if that's what you want to do too. But if there's like, I'm a big sucker for really nice gyms. Obviously, Wes has shown me a couple ones out in California, and it's like, dude, I think it's such a good, if you're going to be spending your money somewhere, because you obviously will, we all do, the money's going somewhere. That's such a good place to put it. That's my opinion.
Oh, dude, 100%. You have to invest in yourself. I think one of the mistakes that can be made, this is a classic asking a monkey how to fly. Like, it's like you're an eagle and you're trying to learn how to fly. You do not ask monkeys how to fly. because they just can't do it. They can't comprehend it, right? It's not within their DNA. So when you ask somebody who does not go to the gym or does not invest in their well-being, you cannot ask them this question. It's the wrong market, because they're going to look at you like you're crazy and say, what? Like Jordan, I'll tell you, I spend $200 a month on my gym. Actually, at one point I was a member of 3 gyms and I was paying $260 a month. And that's just for a stereotypical gym, plus dance lessons. I mean, you know, I'm probably spending easily $500 to $1,000 a month between dance lessons and gym memberships. Easily. Probably more towards 1,000 if it's not COVID. So I can tell you that I've wasted my breath in trying to explain the math to some of my friends. One of my friends literally goes out to the bar in New York every single weekend when he goes out, obviously pre-COVID, he was spending $1,000 a night. Literally. This same guy cannot comprehend me spending $1,000 a month on my body and my skill set. He can't comprehend it, right? So again, you do not ask a monkey how to fly. Right. But I'm telling you right now, Matt's telling you right now, 100%, man. Like if you actually use those gyms, it is infinitely worth it. It's not even a question.
For sure. Yeah. Like you said, the only real question is like, you know, how much you like the gym, what are the perks they offer? And then obviously always watch out for the gym funny math. Gyms do this fucking calculus shit on you. It's so annoying. Well, it's $60 a join, but we're going to waive that. And you're just like, dude, how much do I got to pay you a month? Why is there like 4 sheets of algebra in front of me? Just hit me with the monthly payment and I'll give it to you. But I feel like I'm getting tricked right now. Hit you with that shell game. And it's like, yeah, but obviously, yeah, I think it's one of those things. If it's a nicer gym and like you were saying, Jordan, it seems like you're getting more and more into working out. It's like, yeah, sometimes you need more equipment. And it's like, I know for me personally, like the gym that you showed me, Wes, I would just want to go there more. It's just nicer. It's better. There's more stuff to do. You don't got to wait for equipment and doesn't get log jammed, if that seems to be the case. So it's like, yeah, dude. And I would stress anyone to, and this is something kind of a fire, I think, Wes, you lit under my ass of like, are you investing in yourself at all? It's like the answer for me for forever was just no, not really. Besides reading, I always like to read, but it's like, yeah, it's like one of those things like to constantly think about and, to keep doing it. Right now I am thinking about like, what will my next thing be? I went to school, I'm going to start paying that back, but it's like, I want to start, doing more and more stuff kind of like that and stop getting, my little T-Rex arms and getting too cheap when I'm like, well, how much? I don't know. It's like, I want to start, there's a couple things I want to start doing in terms of that and kind of deepening kind of my education. So for sure.
What's a better investment than investing in yourself to be the type of human that you ultimately want to be?
Yeah.
I mean, Matt, you and I both know a person who is a multi-millionaire who just got his leg chopped off because of type 2 diabetes because he was not disciplined around it. He's overweight and, and his life expectancy now or his quality of life is shit.
Yeah, man.
That money has served him no purpose. Now, and this is where I can't exactly comment too deep because of my licenses, but just know that I do believe that increasing your financial wealth is very important as well, because for your future well-being, definitely. But don't take that overboard, right? Like you only get one body, right? You better damn well invest in it. That is what's going to create. That is what gives you the machinery to then go out and earn the happiness that you deserve. Good luck. I mean, I know this is possible, but good luck being happy when you don't have a leg and you've got back problems and you're overweight and all those things. Now, I apologize if that's any of you, but the point is illustrating. It's very difficult. It's so much more difficult to experience peace and joy when you've made the game so astronomically hard because you're not investing back in yourself.
For sure, man. Yeah, it's typically like, take it the case of someone with type 2 diabetes getting themselves in that situation. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's tough to believe that the person wouldn't be embittered, be like, oh, and now this, and it's like, well, dude. Like I have a friend, he's older, and he's like, he's had crazy health problems with type 2 diabetes. It's chugging the light beers and stuff, like not like chugging them, but he'll be like, oh man, I've been eating too much. My feet are kind of numb, this and that. And I'm like, dude, I mean, it's like how many times I'm like, dude, you can't have beer anymore, bro. Just scratch that off the list, and it's just does not compute. And dude's like, nah. So it's just it's hard. It's honestly hard to watch. He literally, I've told him before, I'm like, you have to just stop, man. Like even his kids are like, just drink like vodka and soda at least. He's like, it's not the best, but like, Jesus Christ, stop with the beer. It's like really bad. And it's just likes his beers. And it's like, dude, man, I know another guy who actually did lose his leg, and it was just like, dude, a whole different guy. And it's just like, God damn it, man. You know? So it's like, it's tough. And you go back and think about it and you go, do they really like beer that much? Or is it the fact that like without it, you know, the kind of they start getting the squirrelies and they go, oh, you know, I don't like this. It's like that can happen. I've had parts of my life where like, if I wasn't like totally distracted with something or kind of stoned or something, you know, something completely kind of taking my attention away from myself, I'd be like an anxious wreck. And it's like, you have to ultimately face that. Like you just do, you know, if you're not okay with yourself, you're not okay by yourself, you know, it's like learning how to do that is a huge thing. And again, the easy litmus test is asking yourself, am I okay? Yes. Just quick, whatever comes, you know, do I feel okay at the end of the day? A lot of times people say like, no, for some reason it's like, okay, we'll start to figure out why, but it's like, that stuff has to be faced, man.
Yeah, no, it really does. And Matt, I know you got to run. So Ray asked the question, Wes and Matt, what is your definition of success? Maybe we put that on hold until Friday, because I want to make sure you've got enough mental space for your upcoming podcast with Michaela. I mean, it's your call. I just want to.
We can wrap up on that. I think it's a great idea. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to fire from the hip?
Oh, so you want to answer it? Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Unless we can wait if you want.
Yeah. No, I'm down. I'm totally down. So funny enough, I personally don't think success has any real definition for me. I do see value in earning results. Like that's the best way to describe it, because I've been exposed to, I mean, the wealthiest among wealthy. I mean, it's crazy, right? Like this one guy, one of my clients, and he's just a great guy. His house, it doesn't even make sense, right? Like it's what you would see in a movie. So, but if you talk to him, he does not consider himself to be successful. So I know, like for him, it's all about, okay, yes, I've earned these results, and those are trophies on the case. But I know that progress is what leads to happiness. So progress never stops. There is no point at which I'm going to be on the beach sipping margaritas. Like I don't. And so he kind of instilled that in me, and I believe him. That's why I think it's so valuable in talking about. It's like, hey, if I've achieved a certain result, then just ask me. I'll tell you how to get that result. But that's not me saying that I'm successful, because I don't think I'm successful. I literally don't think the word exists, if that makes sense. I just think there's inputs and then there's results. And then you just do that in perpetuity, again and again and again. So if we change the definition to, okay, you have been successful getting this result, I'm game for it. But to say that success is a real thing, I don't buy into the definition.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that can be kept more in kind of the ideal territory. Like it's not a thing to be reached, it's a thing to be kind of strived under. But I think, dude, if I had to really think about it and give an honest answer, it's like, are you excited to be alive and wake up every morning? If yes, you know, I've said it before. It's like there was times where like we started the podcast when me and Shane started that, and it was like, once I realized that, like, you know, when that paid my bills, that was cool. But it's like, I just remember thinking like, stopping and being like, damn, like, you know, I don't feel as if I have really stuff to prove anymore. Like I just felt kind of like at ease with my entire situation. And I think that had stuff to do with it for sure. But as like I've gotten older, it's like, that's just an internal thing. Like that's, you could do it. You genuinely could do that without, you know, having like a successful podcast or whatever. It's like, it is a mind state thing. And it's one of those, I just think the easiest litmus test is when you wake up in the morning, do you want to stay in bed? And are you pissed you had to go to the place you're going to? Or are you waking up being like, you know, swinging your feet out of the bed and like running down to whatever you're doing? That to me is just, you know, are you excited to be alive? Yes, no. If yes, I think ultimately in a huge overarching sense, I think that's kind of what success is. Because you can have a ton of money and be miserable. It's like, well, are you successful? It's like, well, it depends how you break it down.
Yep.
I think the way that matters in a holistic way is like, yeah, are you excited to get out of bed and do the thing that you're about to do? Yes, no.
Now, Matt, for you, is that a X amount of times out of 10, or is it every single day? So
I would say like the majority of times, you know, it's like, if you had to check yes or no, like, are you happy? You know, I could say like, oh, one morning I woke up, I was slugging or I was kind of pissed. But if I had to check the box overarching, like, am I genuinely happy with what I'm doing with my life? My answer would be yes. And like awesome. Large. So yeah, I think so. Obviously you're going to have mornings. You might have weeks or months where you go through it, but it's like, you know, and again, like you said, Wes, it's like, it's a strange box to be like, I did it, you know, I'm done, I made it, blah, blah, blah. But it's also something that should be acknowledged. Like, yeah, man, like, you know, I feel good about my situation. So, you know, I think it's one of those things that's like really unique to everybody's situation. But for me personally, I can say like, it's like, and just like you, it's not an end state. It's like, do you feel kind of satisfied with the direction you're going in? Yes or no? And that's, I think, a very good start to it. And then, whatever pops out of it, pops out of it. You never know.
Yeah, I think for me, the word that keeps on coming up is progress. Progress. Like that, and that for me, that's what this is. Like all of us just helping each other make progress in whatever domain, because you can apply that to it doesn't matter if you're trying to get your next $10, your next $1,000, or trying to lose your next 10 pounds or 100 pounds. Progress. I think being on the path of progress is the way to go.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely agree. In any realm, you need to be kind of showing it. You can't just be talking about it. So yeah, absolutely,
100%, dude. Good luck on your podcast, man. Well, final question: what's on the list for this week?
The list for this week, I actually pulled it up. Well, I can just tell you, it was just again following the routine. That's like, because everything's kind of now built into my routine, where it's like if I follow that, I get my psych null goals done, I get my writing goals done, I get the exercise goals done. So my routine now is based around every single thing that I want to do. So it's following that. The emphasis this week is on acts of love. So I'm gonna try to really kind of pump that up.
Awesome.
How about you?
I'm going to be focusing on, number one, I wanted to get out an automatic email to everybody for the men's weight loss group, because I told everybody in the video last week, just click that same link that I sent you out originally and then go fill out your weight loss scorecard there. But I want to increase the value of it and get a daily email out automatically. I used to use a different software, but it's not working, so I need to use a different one. So I want to focus on that, and then I want to focus on launching the new finance, really leaning into the new finance certification that I have and getting that off the ground. Like I've got to do certain things, like get fingerprinted, like all the admin stuff that now the test has been completed and passed. So that's the next step. So nice. That's where we get into, actually doing the thing that you're now able to do. It's one thing to just like learn the stuff. It's another thing to actually go and create value in that space. So that's what I got to focus on this week.
Oh yeah.
Cool. All right, dudes. Awesome seeing you guys. Matt, I'll see you at the end of the week, bro.
I did. See you guys.
Later, guys. Oh, good luck, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man.
Later, man.